Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić arrived today in Kosovo, telling all Kosovar Serbs to stay indoors in order to guarantee their safety as investigations into the Ivanović murder continue. The European Commission has delivered an optimistic economic forecast for Albania in its last report, painting a different picture to the recent predictions from the IMF and World Bank. The first draft of proposals to reform the Academy of Science has been prepared to meet Prime Minister Rama's demands and in hopes the academics can avoid the closure of the institution. Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Saturday, the 20th of January 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić, during his one-day visit to northern and central Mitrovica, has forwarded what he deems an important message to Serbs in Kosovo. Serbs should stay inside their homes in order to survive in Kosovo. The state of Serbia will continue to assist Serbs in Kosovo to ensure their economic development and will find new mechanisms to guarantee their safety, as well as to fight crime and corruption, said Vučić. The Serbian president demanded full investigations to solve the murder of the Kosovar Serb leader, Oliver Ivanović, 4 days after the serious event occurred. We will exchange information because I see that they are arguing about the exchange of information, even though we have always been willing to participate in the investigation. We will wait, not for the news stories, but for the final results of the investigation. Let's see if the perpetrators of this abominable crime in Mitrovica are brought to justice or not. If that does not happen, then many things will become clear, said Vučić. Around noon, Vučić placed a wreath at Ivanovic's office, which was a murder scene just a few days ago. The visit of the Serbian president takes place amid strong security measures, while dialogue between the two countries has been suspended after the assassination of the Serb leader in Kosovo. This is Vučić's 7th visit to Kosovo in the last 5 years, but the first as president of Serbia. As a step in the organisation of the 27 January protest, Chair of the Socialist Movement for Integration, Monika Gruevski, held a meeting with the party affiliates in Elbasan, while calling on citizens to unite on the Dëshmorët e Kombit Boulevard. Gruevski said that the protest is neither for the DP nor the SMI, but for the citizens who seek a better life. It is not an opposition protest, forget political beliefs. It is a protest to awaken Albanians from the inequality of life in which we live today. On 27 January, we do not step out in protest for the SMI or the DP, but each and every one of us for ourselves. Edi Rama can claim to be the owner of this country, but he will never be the owner of the Albanians, exclaimed Monika Gruevski. She went on to make comments regarding the Prime Minister's video he shared on social networks, depicting him accompanying a teacher from Mirdita who has been diagnosed with cancer, scoffing, "I wish that the Prime Minister's gesture was not simply one of theatre, not one to solve only a problem for an individual, but instead a real policy that will solve the problem for all Albanians who suffer from this disease." The chair of the SMI also had a message to their internal party structures and members, requesting full attendance at the protests on January 27. "We must protest not with the SMI flag, but with the flag of equality, because we have 27 years stuck in transition. Let's protest for an equal state with equal education and equal health," said Gruevski. The floods which occurred at the beginning of December last year found hundreds of families unprepared, resulting in land and dwellings becoming saturated and destroyed. Aid was needed for these victims, with one of the first arriving on the scene being to assist the affected was the largest humanitarian association in the country, the Albanian Red Cross. President Uli Alushi says the association has helped around 3,000 families in cities like Vlora, Fier, Berat and Gjirokastra with food and clothing. As an association, we have had a continued presence in the affected areas since the occurrence of this disaster. We immediately started work to coordinate support with the International Federation of the Red Cross and the Red Semi-Moon, said Uli Alushi. He went on to add that aid would have been able to be provided in such a record time without the commitment of volunteers and the solidarity of associations and donors. I would like to mention the Chinese Red Cross that helped with a $50,000 contribution. Also, other associations like the Macedonian, Italian and Croatian Red Crosses, as well as the Turkish Red Semi-Moon, sent teams to coordinate work and be on the ground alongside local Red Cross volunteers, said Ulya Lushi. The Albanian Red Cross focuses its work on spreading humanitarian values, social care and health education. The European Commission has predicted Albania's economic performance to grow over the next 2 years. The latest report analyses the economic performance of the countries aspiring to join the European Union, with projections for Albania's economic growth at 3.8% for this year and 4.2% for 2019. The European Commission's expectations are much aligned with the predictions by the Albanian government, though differ greatly from the forecasts by the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, who both have a more pessimistic outlook. The EC projections are 0.7 percentage points above those of the World Bank, who is the most pessimistic institution in terms of the expectations of Albania's economic growth, and this is directly related to the completion of foreign investment in the country. The EC report states that their predictions are based on the government successfully increasing the elasticity and competitiveness of the economy by strengthening the financial system and maintaining fiscal discipline. Despite the positive expectations, the European Commission does note that the Albanian economy slowed in the third quarter of the year. Among other things, the report notes that obtaining credit from financial institutions in order to support the economy still remains difficult due to the country's credit climate, despite the fact that the level of bad debt has decreased significantly. Six members of the ad hoc commission at the Academy of Science have prepared the first draft of proposals for the Science Academy reform. The academics urgently seek to dialogue with the government to adapt the structure of the Academy according to the requirements and priorities of each scientific research. Academics seek to expand their network of world institutions and arrange a joint venture with Kosovo's Academy for solving common problems. In the draft reform that sets out some of the proposals for the rebuilding of the institution in order to realign it to its core values, the academics propose changes to procedures for accepting candidates by getting stronger criteria. Academics also evaluate the creation of a new generation of academics in order to curb the departure of Albanian excellence. It's also been proposed to introduce a mentor program utilising prominent researchers. According to academics, scouting of candidates should start from university auditors and with reward and recognition programs being offered as a motivator. Referring to the debate of scientific publications, academics say that the editions produced by the Academy should be improved, as well as an electronic science library be created. The ad hoc commission comprises of Apollon Bace, who is the commission chair, and Anesti Kondili, Artan Fuga, Aurela Anastasi, Floran Villa and Neki Frashri. A deadline of March 2018 was set for the academics to find a solution to the institution's crisis, or else the government would remove funding for the Academy from the state budget. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you, good night and have a lovely weekend.